I just read a collection, an anthology of stories by Alice Adams, and I really enjoyed it. She has a very engaging narrative style, and her character development is brief but very full. You really have a good appreciation for the characters, and I admire stories because I think it's even harder to write than a good novel when you can, within a space of 8 to 10 pages, really involve the reader in caring about what happens in a story. So I would recommend the stories of Alice Adams. I read not just books, but we get the Tribune and the New York Times every day, and I read both of those. And I like the New Yorker magazine and the Atlantic magazine. I read those quite frequently. I can't say I read every article and every issue, but I usually read at least something from every issue. I try to keep up with things that are current, like if it's Thomas Friedman's The World is Flat or Blink, all of those nonfiction books that were popular, I will typically read those too. And I'm part of a book group that actually generally reads stories, and we talk about those because we're all busy professional women. Although we read books, it's just easier to talk about stories. I guess one of my favorite picture books would be Blueberries for Sal. When I was a little girl, I loved going to Maine every summer, and Blueberries for Sal is a book about a little girl who's going blueberrying with her mother. And this story is about Sal, who's about 3 years old, and she's picking these little blueberries with her mother and dropping them in her pail. That was probably one of my favorite stories when I was a little girl. I have other stories that I like from reading them with my kids. I certainly liked a lot of the Sendak books. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, they really liked. I think Summer Reading Club is a great idea because, I can remember, now to me the summer just flies by, but when I was a kid I can remember that summer seemed long often. And, what am I going to do all summer? And it's so long till I go back and see my friends. And to get kids involved in reading, of course you might guess that I loved that when I was a kid, and I was lucky that I had an older sister, 4 years older, and she frequently introduced me to books because she'd tell me what books she liked. And just about every Saturday morning we would walk over to the library together, and she would pick out several books for me, and I'd go home with a stack and read them, and we'd go back again the next Saturday. So I really think it's great to just get in that habit, and I think summer reading is a good time to do that. And get in the game, I think, is great because it's the whole idea of get in the game means get involved, be a part of it.